On Saturday, we had the FA Cup final, which ended up being a repeat of last year's final, and considering that that was another Manchester derby final, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people weren't too impressed with the matchup. However, the actual game completely took me by surprise. I did not expect to see what ended up happening, and if I'm honest, I'm glad I tuned in and watched it, because it was a very, very good game and a very, very interesting tactical game as well. So getting into it, in the first half, Manchester City really had the majority of the possession. They were going forward, doing their little passes between one another, and they were trying to find a way through the United defence. So as City were passing the ball around a lot, they weren't making many chances, so they had all of this possession, but they really weren't doing anything with it, which really goes to show that having possession isn't everything, because yes, you might have the ball a lot, but if you don't do anything with it, then it really doesn't matter because you're not scoring. However, going on to Man United's defence, they defended very, very well. They were very compact and very organised. They really didn't give Man City that much space whatsoever, which really makes it a lot more difficult for Man City, because when they're passing the ball about, they really do want to open up the team that they're playing against, and if they open up the team they're playing against, this helps them get into the spaces and get the ball to players like Haaland who can score. So Man United having a very compact, organised defence means that each player is going to have their man, and each player really stuck to their man as well. Even though Man City did get in behind United a few times, they didn't actually panic, which is what usually happens. United, a team will get behind them and then they'll panic and the team will score, but they kind of got back quite quickly and reorganised the defence to actually stop the chance being created, and if the chance was created, Onana was there to stop it quite a few times. And another thing is, United had quite a high press when Man City were on the ball and they were at the back. This did happen quite a lot in the early stages to put the pressure on Man City. It didn't happen as much near the end, but at least at the start, Man United were pressing high and putting all that pressure on City. So going on to the first goal, so a ball was played through, and I think it said Guardiola, the Man City defender, went up to head the ball, and as he was doing this, Ortega then came out, I think, to either try and catch the ball or like punch the ball away, and Guardiola eventually ended up heading the ball over Ortega, and because Garnacho continued chasing the ball, it was basically headed into his path and it was an open goal. So for Garnacho, really it was a tap-in because of the horrendous mistake from the Manchester City players. And this was a horrific bit of communication, because if the defender is coming to head the ball, the keeper should stay back so the defender can head it straight to him, or if the keeper's coming out to get the ball, he should shout to the defender that he's coming out to get the ball. So they clearly didn't communicate with each other, and that ended up with a tap-in for Man United. And this really, really changed the tempo of the game, because Man City, I don't know if they started to panic at this point, but their tempo kind of just shot straight up, because now obviously they're 1-0 behind and Man United have the momentum. And then United after this just really kept on doing what they were doing because it was clearly working. And then United again, shortly after, actually ended up catching City on the break again. However, the ball played across to Rashford. When he put it in, it did end up being offside, so that one didn't count. However, even though that didn't count, this really was showing that Man United were getting in behind City and they were really, really piling on the pressure. Plus, this was just really not good for Man City, because the pressure, they were really starting to kind of like show cracks in there. So then on to the second goal, there was a brilliant ball, an absolutely incredible ball down to Garnacho on the wing, who then ran down the wing, put the ball into Bruno Fernandes, who then did an absolutely brilliant pass to Kobe Mainoo, who really was kind of free on that side, and he just glided the ball into the corner to make it 2-0 to Man United. And that goal was just so perfect, from the ball to Garnacho to the cross over to Bruno, and then Bruno's little flick onto Mainoo to put it in the corner. It was a brilliant goal, and that is how Man United should be playing. So for the rest of the half, it was really Man City coming at United and United breaking away when they could. So overall, in that first half, Man United, the perfect first half, and they completely outplayed Manchester City. I think Manchester City were very surprised at how Man United came at them, especially when they were sitting back and really doing that compact defence. So coming into the second half, Doku came on. He was causing United a few problems, but it wasn't too bad because Wan-Bissaka dealt with him quite well. There were a few interesting balls put in by Doku. He was trying to cut in, he was trying to go around the outside of Wan-Bissaka, but I think Wan-Bissaka dealt with him very, very well. And in the second half, Manchester City were creating more and more chances. There were crosses put in. Foden had a chance where he just didn't connect with the ball. Haaland ended up hitting the bar. There were some crosses that were put in that were dealt with very well by United. City just really starting to create chances but not creating that out and out chance. And also Kyle Walker had a couple of long range shots, and to be honest, these shots were brilliant, but Onana managed to get across and bat them away. There was the first one where Kyle Walker hit the ball and it looked like it was going in, but Onana managed to just get his hand on the ball and tip it round for a corner. Then probably Man City's best chance, Alvarez gets in behind the Man United defence. However, he puts it wide just past the post. That was their best chance of the entire game. And then after this, United really kind of started pushing forward more. They started going on the attack more, which really would have helped the defence, because for like the first 15-20 minutes of that second half, the United defence was constantly being ran at by Man City, and especially Doku on that side with Wan-Bissaka was just going at him. Thank God that they didn't score that early though. And Doku and Walker, I think this next little incident when Martinez was being subbed off and he was walking off, Doku and Walker for some reason went over to him and started pushing him like they were trying to get him off the field quicker. And I really, this is the point where I really start to dislike Man City, because for me personally, I think if you're doing that, if you're pushing people off the field to get off the field quicker, firstly, I think that's incredibly hypocritical, because Man City would do that as well. If they were winning, they would walk off the field if they were substituted off. So I think it's incredibly hypocritical. Plus, it's really childish to go up and start moaning at someone because they're not walking off the field quick enough. I think Pep Guardiola should really have a word with Doku and Walker. He probably won't, because he probably endorses that kind of behaviour. But I really do think that shows how petty and pathetic Man City can be when they're losing. Like, I like them as a team and how they play, but when they're losing, they really can't seem to take it very well, especially when other teams do stuff like that, when they would do it as well. So really, after that little incident, because Martinez, every time someone said something to him or pushed him, he turned round and started saying stuff to them, which honestly, I have no problem with Martinez doing that. He's standing his ground and he has every right to do that. If people are going to come at you like that, you have a right to stand your ground. So shortly after this, Man City continue going forward. Doku does this little move where he cuts inside and takes a shot at the ball in the bottom corner. It ends up going in. I do think Onana should have saved it, but I'm not going to trash him too much because he made some brilliant saves that really kept United in this game. And without him, we probably would have at least minimum been going to extra time. So there was that one little mistake from Onana where he kind of didn't parry it enough and it ended up going in the bottom corner. However, after this, it was really just more of the same. Man City going forward, constantly pressuring United, and then when United could break away, they broke away. Didn't really create any out and out chances from this point, but Man United did actually end up holding on to win the FA Cup. And I think that this winning the FA Cup, especially in this style against Man City in the final, really kind of shows that United can play this well and can play to this standard. So yeah, that's kind of my little review on the FA Cup final. Let me know what you think about the final down in the comments. Also, who do you think the best player was on the field? And do you think there are any underrated performances from the day that no one really noticed? Because obviously some players do more than like what the score sheet says and all that. So yeah, do you think there are any underrated performances? Who do you think the best player, like the man of the match, was? And overall, what do you think about the FA Cup final? Leave all that down in the comments. Thank you for listening to the video, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.